Welcome to the stream, everyone. Today's stream will be talking about the Clone Wars Season 3. Although I have to be honest, I only watched half of Season 3, so it will be the first 11 episodes. And then the next Clone Wars stream will be the second half. So, yeah. Well, first things first, I have a few extra things to talk about before we get to the Clone Wars. So I'm going to be doing a Attack of the Clones stream November 11th at 8 p.m. Mountain Time or 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, or 2 a.m. GMT. And yeah, basically we'll just be talking about the movie, some deleted scenes, and anything else regarding Attack of the Clones, really. So if people want to talk about the book, the novelization, any video games relating to Attack of the Clones, and yeah, anything else, any other fun Attack of the Clones things or topics are game for this stream. So if you want to, you could come join that stream and have fun talking about Attack of the Clones. So, yeah. Yeah, that's it for some housekeeping stuff. So, yeah. All right, let's look and see for the chat, and then we can do Clone Wars. So let's see comments. We have hello, Andrew Helm. Afternoon. Well, it's not afternoon for me, but hello. Always nice to see you in the chat. All right. Now I do have pictures for today. It won't just be this the whole time. 2 a.m. UK time. I think I'll have to rewatch the stream after the fact. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's just when I was able to do the stream. But yeah, that one I think will be a fun stream. I'm excited for that. So yeah. All right, so on to Clone Wars Season 3. All right, so let's here is the first picture I have. All right, so the first episode is, oh, hello, Masquerade. Welcome to the Clone Wars stream. All right, so the first episode of Season 3 is Clone Cadets. It was directed by Dave Filoni and written by Cameron Litback. And just to summarize it in a couple of sentences, we follow clone cadets that train on Kamino, particularly Domino Squad, which is Heavy, Echo 5s, Cut Up, and Droid Bait. And yeah, these are the same clones from the Season 1 Episode 5 Rookies. So yeah, it's kind of cool to see the background. Oh, I missed out on the Season 2 part, so this one ought to be fun. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I think this Clone Cadets is a good episode. Yeah, if you like Rookies, this is basically the background of the more important clones in Rookies. Although, you know, in Rookies, only 2 of them live. Yes, that was a good episode. Yep. Really good episode. Yeah. And then for the second episode, ARC Troopers, which then this episode takes place after Rookies, and we get to follow Fives and Echo. And yeah, so it was directed by Kyle Dunleavy and written by Cameron Litback. And this is basically Grievous and Ventress attack Kamino to steal the cloning data for the Jango Fett clones. And Fives and Echo become ARC Troopers at the end. And this is another fun episode. We do have a couple of lightsaber duels. You have Anakin and Ventress, and then Obi-Wan and Grievous. Totally agree with you. Like every time Obi-Wan and Grievous fight in Clone Wars, it's very anticlimactic because there's only so much they can do with a duel because neither one can die, and it's not like you can cut off Obi-Wan's hand to have a little bit of some stakes or whatever because he doesn't have a robot hand. So yeah, that's a shame. And as for the Anakin and Ventress, that one's okay. I guess there's some stakes there because I guess Ventress could get hurt there, but again, if you've seen Clone Wars, you know that. Yeah, but yeah. So the duels are okay, but yeah. As for the episode, I think it's cool to see Kamino get attacked, and then the clones have to defend their basically homeworld, and I think it's cool. This is an episode that I really, really like. So this one and the last episode, I gave an 8 out of 10. I mean, these are really great, fantastic episodes. Yeah. What does the chat think of these 2 episodes so far? Before we go too much farther. But yeah, these are really good episodes that I feel like they add some, because I feel like sometimes in Clone Wars there's an episode that's like we didn't need that didn't really add very much, but yeah, both strong episodes, I agree. All right, let's move on to the 3rd episode, Supply Lines, which is directed by Brian Callen O'Connell and written by Stephen Melching and Eogan Mahoney. Ryloth is being invaded by the CIS and needs supplies. Master Immagundi holds the droids off so the Twi'leks get away, and Senator Organa and Jar Jar Binks go to Toydaria to get supplies. Since Toydaria is closer to Ryloth than, say, like Coruscant or somewhere else. But Toydaria is neutral, and so they have to jump through a billion hoops to get supplies to the Twi'leks. It's okay, I didn't like the fact that Anakin and Ventress didn't have much interaction fight by fight. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. But as for Supply Lines, the best part of the episode, for me at least, is the stuff with Immagundi. This cool Nikto Jedi, because he basically does he sacrifices himself and the clones to basically get the Twi'leks some time to escape. He does actually what a Jedi would do in that situation when, it's better to save the people and, give them as much time as possible. So that to me, that's the best part of the episode. The stuff with Jar Jar is always interesting. It's weird that they would send Jar Jar to do some negotiation. Like, Bail Organa makes sense. Like, he's not incompetent. Jar Jar Binks, it's funny that he's a representative in the Senate, but hey. It would have been better if Jar Jar was. Yep, totally agree. Because to me, Jar Jar doesn't need to be in the episode. You could have done everything with Bail Organa, and and I actually think you would make the episode a lot better. So, yeah, that episode I'm going to give a 5 out of 10, purely based on the Immagundi stuff. It's a cool Jedi that, it's kind of cool, but it is what it is. All right, so the 4th episode, Sphere of Influence. Directed by Kyle Dunlevy and written by Katie Lucas and Stephen Melching. And in this episode, the chairman of Pantora, Papanoida, his daughters have been kidnapped to force Pantora to join the Separatists. Ahsoka and Senator Chuchi of Pantora, they save one, and the chairman and his son save the other. This is kind of a similar episode in the last one where, like, one side of the story I actually kind of like a lot, and then the other side I didn't like so much. So Yeah, and it's the Chairman Papanoida side of the story where he's like going and actually being proactive and looking for his missing daughters and stuff like that. Which I like that, and he's capable. I think he's a good leader. And then you have Ahsoka and Chuchi that are like, it's like, because we have to throw in Ahsoka in all these episodes. That's just like, why can't we focus on, the chairman and like maybe the chairman and his family, and then like Chuchi works with him, and those are the characters that are working to save his daughters rather than pulling in Ahsoka because we need Ahsoka in more episodes. I guess I don't know. That's just my thing with it. So I'd give this episode a 4 out of 10. And one little interesting thing that you might not know, that in Revenge of the Sith, Chairman Papanoida is in the movie. He's in the, I believe he's in the opera building, or he could be in the Senate building. But yeah, that's George Lucas in Revenge of the Sith, so that's kind of cool. And they kind of carry the likeness over in Clone Wars because it looks like George Lucas in his blue face and all that. So it's pretty cool. I always thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, I feel like Rio Chuchi should have been one of the main focuses without Ahsoka involved. Yep, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Ahsoka doesn't need to be in every single episode, and we don't need Jedi in every single episode. This could have been a non-Jedi episode. That actually would have been kind of, well, but I guess that's, a dual-edged sword, because then it's like, well, then there's like less recognizable characters, and some people would say, oh, we could just skip this episode. It's like, you could skip this episode. It's not that important of an episode, but if you like just being in the world of Star Wars, experiencing different characters that aren't the main characters, I think is a good thing. Yeah, in the opera building, yeah. Pretty cool. Alright. The next episode is Corruption, directed by Giancarlo Volpe, and written by Cameron Litvack. And in this, Padme and Satine stop a smuggling chain poisoning children's drinks on Mandalore. And, so it's just exploring and discovering the corruption and the black market on Mandalore. I don't have a whole lot to say about this episode because it's not one that I love. It's a Padme and Satine team up episode, so if you really like both of those characters, you're probably in heaven. But I don't hate either of those characters, but I'm just like, I think there's other stuff I'd rather explore. So it's okay, but not my favorite. A 4 out of 10. Then you have The Academy, directed by Giancarlo Volpe, written by Katie Lucas and Stephen Melching. And in this, Ahsoka and some cadets on Mandalore discover that Prime Minister Almec is corrupt, and they have him arrested. So it's basically a continuation of the previous episode, where they kind of discover some corruption, and then they discover more, and it actually goes clear to the Prime Ministers. So yeah, kind of similar. Not my favorite stuff. I mean, it's cool to see some of how Mandalore is run with like the school and like that, I guess, but yeah, that's not the most exciting thing. I would have been fine if we saw more of Padme and Mon Mothma. Yeah, that's yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, especially because you can, because Mon Mothma goes on to be the leader of the rebellion and stuff like that. So it would be kind of cool to see that their dynamic. I agree with that. I think that would have been cool. I'm fine with the Satine and Ahsoka episode. Yeah. Is there more than one? I think it's just this one though, right? But yeah, it's okay. It's just not my favorite. Yeah, so I'd give that a 3.5 out of 10. Not blowing me away, but it's better than watching The Acolyte. So I mean, there's that. What else? We got Assassin next, directed by Kyle Dunleavy, written by Katie Lucas. And in this, Ahsoka has a vision of Aurra Sing assassinating Padme on Alderaan. And we find out that Zero the Hutt is behind it, as Padme is responsible for Zero getting captured and thrown in prison and all that. So it's basically, revenge and all that. It's cool to see Alderaan. I wish we would get to see more of Alderaan. Because it's from the little glimpses we get, it's a cool planet that I'd love to see more of. And that is a shame that in Clone Wars that we didn't really get a whole lot of Alderaan, because obviously at a certain point in the Star Wars, it doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, this was another good one. Oh, so yeah. Aurra Sing, because at the end of season 2, everyone thought she had died, but surprise, surprise, she's not dead. She comes back to try and kill Padme. So yeah, it's a decent episode. So I'd give that one about a 6 out of 10. It's it's fine. So yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. Evil Plans, which is directed by Brian Callen O'Connell, written by Stephen Mitchell and Craig Van Sickle. And in this one, you have Cad Bane, and he's stealing the plans to the Senate building from R2-D2 to break Zero out of prison. So basically, this is a setup episode for Hostage Crisis at the end of season 1. So yeah, and then C-3PO and R2-D2, they go looking for a Jogan fruit. Basically, how Cad Bane gets the droids to get the information out is, I assume that because the Jogan fruit, which is like, it's for a cake or dessert that Padme needs to impress a senator, and oh no, they're out of Jogan fruit, which is like the accent on the cake. So C-3PO and R2-D2 are sent to go get some, and and then obviously Cad Bane is able to take them while they're out on the streets of Coruscant. He gets the plans and then sends them back. So I assume that Cad Bane is behind the missing Jogan fruit. It's like, is it really a coincidence that the Jogan fruit is missing? Like, I don't know. It feels a little convenient. And all they do with the Jogan fruit is just stack it on top of the cake. It's like, really? That's kind of lame, but hey, whatever. So, yeah. If you can't tell, I don't think this is a very good episode at all. It's not. Yeah. It just feels, we don't need to know the setup of how Cad Bane got the plans. You can just fill it in yourself. It's like, oh, yeah, he's a capable bounty hunter. Yeah, I don't think we needed to see it. So, yeah. Let's see what the chat has to say. All right. Maybe we could have had more episodes on Alderaan if Disney hadn't canceled TCW. Yeah. I wouldn't mind like an arc, multiple episodes on Alderaan. Like some big thing happens on Alderaan, so we get to spend some time there, and we actually get to look at like the landscape and the different buildings and maybe different cities and all that stuff, and experience what Alderaan culture is like. I think that's a missed opportunity. Just like, isn't it weird that we haven't seen Bothans in Clone Wars or anywhere else? They're very, like, they're a really prevalent species in the original trilogy, because they stole the plans for the second Death Star, and we haven't seen them, which I always thought that was weird. Wasn't too keen on this one. Too much 3PO. Almost as bad as a Jar Jar episode. Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird choice. Like, out of all the ways that Cad Bane got the plans, that's what you elect to do? Hey. Yeah. Yeah. True. Too much 3PO can be a bad thing, you know? Yeah. Although, if you're not a fan of 3PO, then you probably don't watch that. You don't like that Droids show that they put out in the 80s. That has a lot of C3PO. It was an interesting watch. Or seeing one of the babes. Also, I really wanted to see Ayla be protecting Padme instead of... Yeah, like, I think it would have been cool to, you know, like, pick different characters. Like, why do we always have to return to Ahsoka and Anakin and Obi-Wan and Padme and all these characters? It's like, yes, they're recognizable characters, but my favorite aspect of the Clone Wars is exploring Kit Fisto or Shaak Ti or Aayla Secura, these other characters that do not really have the time to shine in the movies, because we're focusing on Obi-Wan and Anakin and all that, the big heavy hitter characters. And I just feel like, you know, my favorite episodes of the Clone Wars are not Anakin episodes or Obi-Wan episodes. They're Kit Fisto episodes or Plo Koon or Aayla Secura. Different characters, but yeah. Didn't like the droids and Ewoks animated shows. Yeah. They're rough. They're rough. I think if you're a kid, they're awesome, but yeah, I didn't watch them when I was a kid. I watched them when I was an adult, and yeah, they're a little rough. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What did I give Evil Plans? 3 out of 10. Yeah. Maybe that's a little generous. It's just this one just feels. You know what? Yeah. Let's just give it a 1 out of 10. This is a waste of time. This episode is pointless. We don't need to fill it in and all that stuff. So yeah. All right. Next is a far better episode in Hunt for Zero, which is directed by Stuart Lee and written by Stephen Mitchell and Craig Van Sickle. And in this, it's, as the title says, Obi-Wan and Quinlan Vos hunt Zero on Nal Hutta and Teth, and Zero is killed. In a surprise twist where I believe it's Sy Snootles kills him and then reports back to Jabba the Hutt, as, you know, Jabba probably wanted Zero dead for his involvement with the kidnapping of his son. So, which I think makes sense. I don't think that's... Yeah. This episode does have some weird stuff where you have, you have Sy Snootles and Zero kissing. Yeah. Isn't that just a lovely... Oh, I just realized I've been forgetting to put pictures out. Well, that's a shame. Let's see, where's the Zero? All right. Let me... Here, we'll share the Zero one. But yeah, this is a bad... no. The Hunt for Zero is good in some elements, and then it's got some weird stuff. Zero is a weird character. There's no doubt about it. It's just, you know, what a weird character. So, yeah, enjoy that. Let's see, what else? Yeah. You get Quinlan Vos in this episode. You know, he's kind of a cool character, although Obi-Wan is like making such a big deal about, like, oh, Quinlan Vos, he's like this renegade Jedi, he's so weird, and it's just like, man, Obi-Wan complains about Quinlan Vos a lot in this episode. It's just like, come on, quit complaining about him. He's not that weird or brash. Like, Anakin is far worse. So, I don't get why he was just complaining about him all the time. But yeah, so this is cool. I mean, we get to go to Nal Hutta, the Hutt homeworld. That's cool. But yeah, it's got some weird stuff in it, but it's better than the last episode, so I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's see what the chat has to say. Oh, just yeah, not one of my favorites. Yeah, it can be rough. Yeah, it's got some weird stuff, but you know. Yet Obi-Wan had to deal with Anakin's antic on a daily basis. Quinlan Vos, last I checked, is more of a broody type. Yeah, he's in like the comics. He's a different character, but in Clone Wars they changed his personality, which is a shame because why not just take his characterization in the comics and put that in the TV show? To my knowledge, do we have a lot of broody type of characters in TCW? I don't think so. Which is a shame because I really think we could have had a different character. Yeah, like, you know, he's some people's favorite character, especially if they read the comics. And then you watch TCW and he's a very different character, which is, it's just a shame that the writers of TCW just, they weren't into the books and the comics really, because there are so many contradictions and things like that it's like, because I think it would be cool to have some of those books and comics, some of the events in there brought to life in animation form. That way we get to see, you know, I mean, that would have been cool, but alas, we did not get that. Originally, John Ostrander was going to write to him in the show. Oh, really? Interesting. Cool. All right, what do we got? Oh, heroes on both sides. Let's change the picture. Change the picture. Which one's heroes on both sides? Let's see. I gotta change the... Oh, let me just do it this way. Whoops, wrong button. Yeah. Let's see. Heroes on both sides of that one. Okay. Now you can see it. Alright, this is directed by Kyle Dunleavy and written by Daniel Arkin. And in it, Ahsoka and Padme go to Raxus to start peace talks with the Separatists. But an attack on Coruscant by the Separatists throws that plan out the window. Yeah. This episode, the best part is that we get to see the capital planet of the CIS, and we get to see their government, their parliament, I think, or do they call it a senate? I think it's a parliament. But yeah, anyways, yeah, you get to see it's cool. It's different. It's, you know, it's where I think, yeah, it's the best part of the episode. And yeah, you are introduced to Lux Bonateri, who comes and pops in a few episodes later on down the series. And yeah, and I think this is the first episode where where Ahsoka's attire changes, where you know, the animation tweaked, and it's also to help show time has passed. So yeah, which is cool, because obviously Obi-Wan and Anakin, they lose more of their armor as it transitions slowly from, you know, the armored look from season 1 to by the end, they're basically how they should look in Revenge of the Sith. So yeah, but yeah, I think this is a decent episode. It's, yeah, like I said, the best part is going to Raxus, and the Separatist stuff is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm gonna give this one about a 6 out of 10. It's a decent episode. So, did you not see that? Oh, I like this one with Padme and Mina Bonetari's relationship. Yeah, and it is interesting that, to explore at least a little bit how Padme had relationships with senators that are on the other side, because obviously they were in the Republic, but then they split away. So I think that's one thing that I don't think Star Wars ever did a really good job of, is exploring the Separatists. Really, it's just a shame, because there's some cool stuff, and not all of the Separatists are evil, like the Trade Federation and the Corporate Alliance and all them. They're evil. They're in it just for money and all that crap. But there's actual citizens that think, it's just, Now, did I look back on Mina Bonetari? She kind of looks like Mon Mothma if she had a son, as she has then and now. She does kind of look a little bit like Mon Mothma, like an older Mon Mothma. Yeah. It is interesting. I never thought about it before, but yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Oh, here, I'll pull up a picture that, in case you're not aware of. The character. Yeah, that's Mina Bonetari, but whatever. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, and now one more episode for the first half of Clone Wars. Yeah. And it's another Padme Senate episode. And so some people complain about these episodes, but it is what it is. All right, So it's titled Pursuit of Peace. It is directed by Dwayne Dunham and written by Daniel Arkin. And in this, Padme, Bail Organa, and Anaconda Farr become targets as they want a bill proposing the purchase of an additional 5 million clone troopers. They want that to fail. And basically, in this episode, these senators have to deal with thugs being hired to beat them up, to basically dissuade them from voting down the bill. So, yeah. And obviously, the Dooku and Palpatine, they want the bill to pass, but ultimately, by the end of the episode, the bill doesn't pass, as Padme gives a impassioned speech in the Senate and sways enough people to vote against it. So, yeah, that's the episode of that's the episode basically. Neat. A decent Padme-centric episode. Yes. Is this the best Senate episode? Let's see, because you've got Senate Murders, which is like a murder mystery. Then you've got this one, and isn't there another one somewhere? No, I think there's just I think there's like 3. But yeah, this might be the best Padme Senate episode, unless I'm forgetting one. I can't remember, but yeah, it's just interesting to see. It's it's an okay episode. Let's see, what's the... this one I'm going to give about a 5 out of 10, I think. It's it's a decent episode, but it's, yeah. Well, that's all I've got, Clone Wars wise right now. Um, yeah, we'll do another stream for the second half, in a few weeks, because the next live stream is going to be the Attack of the Clones live stream. So yeah, but then the 2 weeks after the Attack of the Clones one should be the next Clone Wars one. Yeah, and then for season 4, that will just be, I won't split the season into 2 like this one. That was just, I didn't watch all of the episodes and that, so yeah. But it should get easier, once we're past season 5. I mean, the last 2 seasons are short, so they'll be relatively easy to get to. So, yeah, let's see. Also, if I were to imagine how the episode could have gone, I would have Rio Chuchi and Mon Mothma meet Mina and Lux, and then for Padme, would work together with Mon and Bail. Interesting. Including more senators and all that stuff. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Yeah, and it would be cool if they even wanted to lay some seeds for the for like the rebellion, in terms of like so show some of the senators that are basically essentially what they would be rebels, that are like looking at Palpatine and like, he's making weird decisions, and maybe he's not the best leader for the Republic, and and you start building that. I know there's some deleted scenes in Revenge of the Sith that basically do that, and it's a shame those were cut, because it gives Padme more to do in the movie than be pregnant, I guess. And it also, it sows those seeds for the rebellion and stuff like that. I think those would have been cool to see, and I think it would have been cool to have more of that in the Clone Wars. But alas, we didn't get that, so yeah. That would have been great. Kind of like those deleted senator scenes, yep. Yes. Yeah, and you could have done an episode or 2 here or there, that's all. It doesn't even need to be a lot of episodes, but that could have been like Padme's story arc in the Clone Wars, is slowly getting her to a point where, she's questioning Palpatine and all that stuff. I think that would have been interesting. Yeah, and it would also be interesting to maybe have a little bit of a conversation between Padme and Anakin, especially as like Anakin's like, oh, Chancellor Palpatine's the greatest thing ever, and then Padme is slowly like, he really isn't. And it would have I think made their dynamic a little more a little interesting, because Anakin's like, oh, Palpatine, he's so awesome because he's my friend. But we didn't get that. But I think that would have been interesting. Yeah, well, that is the Clone Wars season 3, the first half. So very interesting batch of episodes. For me, so many lost opportunities. Yes, that's the thing. Like, that's what's a big shame, is like there's so many things that they could have done in the Clone Wars that, like, really, I think the Clone Wars could have ran for tons of seasons. But obviously it couldn't run for 10, 12 seasons if, we're focusing on Obi-Wan and Anakin too much. But, if we have episodes where we're following different characters and we see different campaigns and different characters doing, and it just explores the galaxy at the time of the Clone Wars. So we get to see what the Senate is doing, what bounty hunters are doing, what even the separatists are doing. I think it maybe would have been an interesting story idea to maybe for the Clone Wars you follow like several characters. So we follow a senator character, and they're kind of like our main character that'll delve into the Senate stories. So I guess that's Padme. And then you have Jedi characters. You'd have multiple because yeah, but and then you have like bounty hunter characters that where we delve into the bounty hunter side, and then you have like our bad guys like General Grievous or Ventress and see what they're doing, and then yeah, like it'd be cool to have like a separatist, maybe like a separatist. I don't know, maybe a senator or whatever they call him. And then we kind of see like, so we get to see the Republic, and it would be cool to see the Separatists kind of like how they, yeah, it just would have been interesting to explore the whole galaxy, you know, yeah, and tons of different characters. We don't need to always be following the same like 3 or 4. There's more. Chairman Papanoida was originally Runian. I wouldn't mind Runa as a big sister planet neighboring with Pantora, explaining their similarities, kind of like with Naboo and Alderaan. Ah, so Runa is a planet of blue people, huh? Interesting. Okay. I don't mind that if it makes sense, you know? Yeah. They could just be like a subgroup, you know? Let's see. If not TCW, EU books could have dealt with the storylines. Sure. Or comics, or, you know, yeah, but yeah, like, and what's interesting is the books that we got set in the Clone Wars in the EU, a lot of them are kind of underwhelming. Like, I think the storylines are just kind of lame or weak. Which is a shame because I like the Clone Wars. It's a really good era. I think it's very interesting, and you know we could have had so many stories told in that era, but alas, we are where we are. But yeah, like books would have been awesome. I would have taken video games too. I mean, it's just I want to experience that story, and there's a lot of potential. No Prisoners was a good one. No Prisoners, is that a Karen Traviss book? Right? I think that's a Karen Traviss. Is that the one with I think it has Pelion in it, Ahsoka's in it. If that's the one, if that's No Prisoners, then yes, I agree. That is a good one. I liked that one. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. That one's really good. You have another one that's by Karen Miller. That one has Obi-Wan and Bail Organa in it, and they go on like a road trip to a Sith planet. That one I thought I liked the beginning and the end, but I didn't like the middle. Yes, I have yet to read that. Oh. Yeah, well, you're in for a treat, I think. That one's good. Yeah. Some other Clone Wars books that I think are really good are the MedStar duology that follow Barriss Offee. I think those were a really good read by Michael Reeves. So yes, those are good. And the Republic Commando novels by Karen Traviss. I really liked that. If you like Mandalorians, like the armored Mandalorians, epic warriors, stuff like that, I think you'll like those Commando books. They're really good. But you do have Labyrinth of Evil by James Luceno, but that's kind of like a prequel to Revenge of the Sith, as it takes place like it basically leads right into Revenge of the Sith. So, but yeah, I mean, that's a good book as well. Can't go wrong with the James Luceno book. So yeah, All right. Apparently, this turned into talking about Clone Wars books and recommendations and stuff like that. But hey, that's okay. Yeah, you're missing out if you don't read Star Wars books. There's some good stuff out there. So, all right. I think that's about it. Yeah, I'll remind you that again. Yes, on November 11th, an Attack of the Clones stream. You know, at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, or what would that be? 7 Pacific and 10 Eastern, and then 2 a.m. GMT for the British people out there. I have the Clone Wars novel and Wild Space, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, the Clone Wars novel, the novelization. Oh, I read it about 80 pages of that, and I stopped because I just was like, I don't need a novelization of this movie. But yeah, Wild Space. Oh, Wild Space is the one with Obi-Wan and Bail Organa. Well, yeah. Not something I enjoyed too much. TCW/EU, all good. Yep. I mean, there's good stuff in TCW. There's good stuff in the EU, but they both also have their flaws. Which makes sense. I mean, TCW is, like 150 episodes, 60 episodes, something like that. Yeah, there's bound to be some duds. And in the EU, I mean, there's, hundreds of novels. So there's bound to be some duds. They all can't be 10 out of 10s. But I feel like, for the most part, the quality it's mostly good. So, definitely better than the Disney stuff. It was written by Karen Miller. We got 2 authors that had Karen in their name. Yes. Yeah. Wild Space is, you might enjoy it. But I did not. So, yeah. She also, Karen Miller also wrote 2 other Clone Wars books. They follow Obi-Wan and Anakin on a planet. I can't remember. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend those books. I didn't think they were very good. I thought they were kind of boring. Yeah. But if you like Wild Space, and so you end up liking that, you might like those books more. But again, it's basically 2 pretty big books set on one kind of campaign location that I just thought it was boring. But yeah, lots of good stuff out there. So all right, well, it's been fun talking about the Clone Wars. These are fun streams. I think I like doing it via stream instead of just making a video on a couple of episodes or whatever. I think this is funner, more enjoyable, and plus you have the chat to interact with and stuff like that. So yes, that's always fun. I think I might do this for other TV shows for the future, I think. But of course, what else would I do it for? Skeleton Crew is probably gonna not be that great. I don't know. Oh well, if there's something that I think would work in this format, I'll do it. But I don't know. Oh, that's one thing. What are your thoughts on Skeleton Crew? Is anyone excited for Skeleton Crew? I feel like most people are like, there's no interest in Skeleton Crew. I'm thinking it's just gonna be kind of okay or meh. I don't think it's not gonna be like Acolyte, but I don't think it's going to be that great either. But yeah. Yep, before the dark times, before Disney. Yep. Yeah. Man. Disney has ruined Star Wars. They've wasted so much. Think about it. If they would have spent the past 10 years, like putting out good stuff and not like cranking out garbage, think about where Star Wars would be if, the sequel trilogy wasn't divisive and all that stuff, and they actually made a good sequel trilogy that people like and had awesome Luke moments, and the new characters were awesome as well. But man, it would be so awesome to be a Star Wars fan now, but alas, we are completely underwhelmed by Skeleton Crew. Yeah, like its best bet is, it's not that offensive. It's not that crap, basically. I think that's its best bet. I don't think this is going to be a 10 out of 10 show. I think it's like maybe a 6 at best. But that's me. What do we got? Didn't care so much about Skeleton Crew, so it would be below average. Yeah, I mean, I watched the trailer and I was just like, this is like Space Goonies, basically. And it's like, if I want to watch Goonies, I'll just watch Goonies. I don't need to watch Space Goonies with Jedi and all that. That's just no thanks. Well, I don't know if they're gonna have Jedi in it, but I think the one guy he's got Force abilities. That doesn't mean he's a Jedi though. But the Thrawn trilogy should have been the sequel trilogy. Yeah, I agree with that. Pretty much. Yeah, you just take. Well, you'd have to tweak it and make it so it's set so it matches the actors' ages, but I think you could tweak the story a little bit and still have Thrawn be the bad guy, and this Imperial remnant that was like long dormant for decades arises, and you show Thrawn as this master tactician, and he's a huge threat to the New Republic, and he even gives. Because I think you would have to tweak it that Luke would have to already have had the Jedi Order rebuilt, so there you would have multiple Jedi. Would that mess it up? Because you'd have Jedi's. Thrawn's job would be a lot harder because there would be more Jedi in the galaxy. That would be an interesting thing to think about. But yeah, even if you had to tweak it and make it so it makes sense, I still think it would have been better than what we got, which is a shame. But apparently those those books, that source material, that doesn't exist. That's that's make believe. That doesn't count. But yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about it. So yeah, thanks for everyone watching. Thank you for commenting if you commented. Thank you for watching if you just watched. And thank you to Andrew Helm and Masquerade for chatting and contributing to the conversation. It's always a pleasure to chat, and hopefully you'll join the next Clone Wars stream. I know Andrew said that you probably won't be able to watch the Attack of the Clones one live, as it's the middle of the night for him, and that's okay. That's okay. You don't need to stay up to watch that. That's no problem. I'll see you next stream. It's been great. It has. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and see ya next time.